Welcome back, and thank you for joining me again. I want to make this video just to say thank you. You know, um, I realized that I've reached a milestone today. Um, I reached 100 subscribers. Yeah, that's really big to me, and thank you, for all my subscribers, and I appreciate all of you. Now, that doesn't sound like a big number at all, especially to some of the large channels, but we all have to start somewhere, and it's big to me because I didn't think that I was going to be able to even be a content creator. Yeah, I thought that I was a little too shy and a little too reserved to do this. I'm a little bit more of an introvert. So, when I first moved to Colombia, that was my intention. You should finally start documenting all these trips you take, when you go overseas. And so I said, yeah, that's what I should do. I should go over there and start a YouTube channel. And then when I got here, yeah, that shyness and that reserved nature of me took over. And I ended up not, being able to do it. I started procrastinating. I let months go by of being here, before I finally decided to just, I said, you know what, you have a story to tell, from all your travel, and you have a lot of knowledge and expertise, that you can share with people, and you can probably help some people. So you need to go ahead and just, give it a try, and see what happens. So I finally got the nerve up and made my first video, and that kind of got me going. Just kept making one video after the next, and I started getting some pretty good feedback from people. Got a little bit of bad feedback, but I didn't let it bother me. I started to, just be able to learn how to just shake off certain things, that you got to deal with when you're a content creator. And there were times, because it's been really slow, it's taken me about, 8 months to get to 100 subscribers. So this is not a fast process at all. I don't know what to do to get people to, come to the channel or get views. There's so many different secret formulas to it, and there was a lot of times where I thought, maybe this ain't for me, saying nobody's watching the videos, you need to give up. But I said, you know what, every time I would think about, stopping, something would make me keep going. I finally reached 50 subscribers. And I said, okay, you know what? Maybe you should keep going. You got 50 subscribers. It took you a while, but 50 people are watching, And a little bit of time in between, I thought about it again. I said, maybe you should stop, You don't have a lot of people, checking this out, maybe this ain't something you should be doing. But then I made it to 75 subscribers. And I said, okay, well, you know what? You're getting there, not that fast, but you're getting there. So, you just keep going. You never know. And in between the 75 and the 100, I said, you know what, maybe you should get this up again. I thought about it again, give it up. But then one of the subscribers, one of you guys made a comment, and it was a young guy, and young guy from New Jersey, just like me. He's from New Jersey, and he's a young fella. And he told me that my videos were inspirational to him. And I said, man, I said, that really just resonated with me. It meant a lot. I said, I know that I'm reaching somebody, maybe not a big audience, but at least somebody's watching. So I said, keep going. And, today I woke up and, just checking the channel out and stuff. And I said, man, I got 100 subscribers. I said, wow. So I said, you know what? you just never know, man. I said, hopefully that 100 turns into 200, 300, and I'll get there, So I'm just gonna keep going, speaking to a small audience, but at least I know that the audience that I'm speaking to, I'm reaching people, and somebody's getting something out of it. So for those of you that are, planning your travel journeys, you want to come visit Colombia, and even though, especially those that want to even move, to Colombia, that's what I'm here for. That's what I mostly want to talk about is, just giving advice to those that, are starting out in their journey, as an international traveler or a future expat. Yeah, so I have those resources available to you. If you check the link, my link tree, there's some resources available to you that you can check out that can help you on your journey. And, just leave me comments, and ask questions, and I'll be glad to get back to you. So, please like and share the video, and, and subscribe if you're new watching. Appreciate all your support, Thanks a lot for everything.